Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hello, mamas, and welcome to episode 200 of the Entering Motherhood podcast. I truly cannot believe that we're here. We are 200 episodes in of growth and learning and connection. And if you've been with me since the beginning, thank you so much. If you are just joining now, welcome. And today's episode is special because I really want to reflect on some recent aspects of this podcast and my business and some other really powerful realizations that I've been having about storytelling, about being present in motherhood, and about how we shape the way that we experience life. So I recently attended a content creation retreat, which was designed to help creators, especially those in the birth working community, to refine their message and deepen their impact. And while this retreat mainly focused on content, it became so much more than that. And it was so much more than that. And it was really about connection, about peeling back these layers, and about understanding ourselves in so many new ways, and really taking the time to just step into that and get into that and have the space for that. So one of the most impactful exercises from the experience was sharing our life story. And we had about 10 minutes to really just pour out our whole life journey to a small group. It was probably about 4 or 5 women in each group. And for me, this was so impactful because I learned so much about myself and just what I was saying and how I was interpreting and feeling like I was supposed to explain how my life story was. And so I really went into this unprepared. I was unsure of what I would say. And what came out was all of these stories of loss and grief, and mostly just the moments of losing my mom and my stepmom and how that shaped my outlook on life. And I talked about all these rough paths and aspects of my life that were really just pretty sad and depressing and not things that I really feel are great aspects of my life. And so afterwards, I realized something really powerful, that when I was given this opportunity and this chance to share my story, I defaulted to the hardest parts and the pain and the struggle and everything on that side of the scale. And while those experiences have definitely shaped me, they don't define me. That's not the story that I want to be telling. So it really left me wondering, why was I telling this story? And what story, if given another opportunity and another chance to give my spiel and have 10 minutes of the floor entirely to my own to tell my life story, what would I want to say if I had more time to reflect and explain just other aspects? And so I started reflecting and I started digging in on this, and I really started to wonder, why do I always tell the story of loss? Why do I tell people about the struggles in my life? And why do I focus on these hard moments instead of the moments that bring me joy and excitement and passion? And why do I think that that is going to make me more relatable? It's going to show my vulnerable side, and it's going to make me seem more authentic. And I think we all do this to some extent. And maybe you do it when you talk about your birth or about your motherhood experience or even about your career. And maybe when somebody asks you about your day or your birth or your work or just how things are going in general, you default to the trauma and the fear and the uncertainty and the unknown, and you downplay all of these really great, amazing things in your life. And listen, I'm not saying that those stories don't matter. They absolutely 100% do, but they don't have to be the story that you tell. It doesn't have to be your story or the story that others have to hear or even know about. Sure, there are aspects of your life, but that's not your whole complete life. That's not everything that you're made up of. And another major moment for me at that retreat was during this breathwork session. I went into it very open, very relaxed. I was hoping for clarity. I was hoping for connection with my mom and my stepmom and my grandmom and all those other powerful, beautiful people in my life that have passed. And I wanted a message. I wanted some sort of sign that I was on the right path and doing the right thing and making the right choices. But instead, I found myself just completely overwhelmed with so much emotion. I felt sadness and frustration, and I was really angry. I was angry at the fact that I'm human and that I have limitations and that I can't just be wherever I want and go wherever I want and be with all the people that I know and I love and that I've known in my life. And it's just so wild to think back to that moment and think, why was I in that headspace? Why was I thinking about that way of approaching this breath work? And it hit me that I was really just focused on the past and the future. And I was completely missing the present moment, the now. I was missing out on the people who are still here with me. I was missing out on the people that were in that room. And I was continuing to let that impact my life. And instead of really focusing on the present moment and finding out how I can impact this present moment. And I was not paying enough attention to the life that was happening around me, the life that's currently happening around me. This present moment, this is a new current present moment than that experience was too. I think a lot of us struggle with this, especially if you're expecting a baby or navigating this early stage of parenthood. And it's so easy to get caught up in the, what will my birth be like? Will I know what to do? What if things go wrong? You have all of these questions and feelings and thoughts just ruminating around in your head, or maybe you're thinking of a past birth experience or somebody else's birth experience that they told you about. Maybe you're saying, my first birth experience was so traumatic. I don't want this one to be the same. What if this one is the same? What if I have these same things happen? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? I heard my friend had this happen. Do you think that's going to happen to me? How are you talking to yourself? How are you approaching life and really just standing in the present moment? In all of that worrying, we lose sight of the only thing that truly matters and the only thing that we truly have. And that is the present moment. What we are literally doing right now as you listen to this, as I speak. And I wasn't just doing this with the people in my life, but I was doing this with other aspects in my life. This podcast and my business. I was focused more on where it was going and what it would mean. How can I grow? How can I serve and support more women? What will this look like in a year? Will we grow our family and have more children? Am I behind? Am I doing enough? This episode 200, was scheduled on this hypothetical calendar that I put on myself for the first of the year. And now we are mid-deep in February. And it's finally coming out. Am I behind? Maybe, according to this, like I said, hypothetical calendar that I created and I put on myself. But am I really? No. I would not have this energy, this gained experience, this knowledge, this perspective if I had recorded it then. I don't even know what I would talk about then. It would have been a completely different episode for our 200th episode. And so, most of the time we just have so many of these thoughts going around, the what ifs and all the should haves, could haves, and this doom and gloom aspect. And honestly, we're just not serving ourselves in the best way. At least it's not serving me and it's not helping me. It was leaving me in this downward spiral state. And it was making me rely on others to help guide me instead of really just turning inward and listening more to my intuition and focusing on the next simple, easy, free flowing small step ahead of me. I mean, even this, I had all of these thoughts and ideas and things that I wanted to say for this specific episode. And it has taken me so long to get to this point because I felt like it needed to be quiet. I needed to have space to do this, and I needed to record at different times. I have my son home with me full time. I am currently doing overnight postpartum visits with a client 4 nights a week. And I also am taking on birth clients as well. I just went to this amazing home birth to do photography for. And it was truly remarkable to just be in the moment and know that there was nowhere else that I needed to be or needed nothing else that I needed to do except just be there in that current present moment and capture beautiful, amazing pictures. And, sometimes we are like just on the go and doing all these things. And then I felt really sick the other night when I was going to record this. And I was so frustrated at myself because I knew that I wanted this done because I know that I want this message out there and I know that it's going to resonate with somebody and I know that it's going to impact somebody and I know it's going to make a difference in how you think and perceive and feel about where you're at right now. But here we are, and it will come out when it was supposed to come out. And I really, truly feel like that is the truth for all of these other episodes. The fact that I am getting to release the 200th episode is far beyond anything that I ever imagined for this podcast. I had started out and was psyched to complete 10 episodes, to interview 10 people, to finally record a solo episode all by myself. When I first started doing solo episodes, I was really, truly just perplexed at how I was ever going to be able to talk for longer than 2 minutes all by myself. And now I get it. I feel it. I resonate with this. I love this. It lights me up. I want to do more of it. I have episodes that have been recorded for a very long time that are waiting to be released. And those messages are going to resonate with somebody in the exact right moment that it is supposed to for them. And so if you take nothing else from this episode, I want you to know this, that you are exactly where you're supposed to be right now at this moment. No ifs, ands, buts. You're right where you're supposed to be. And sometimes we just get so fixated on the what ifs that we forget to ask, what can I just do right now? And so maybe you're thinking, no, I'm not. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. This isn't where I thought I was supposed to be. And this isn't where I want to be. Okay, well, you're becoming aware of that. You're shifting, you're changing, and you're rewriting your story every step of the way. But there is no mistake. You are exactly where you're meant to be in this moment in time. And so now I just want to ask you some questions. I have 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself and I want you to think about and maybe spend some time journaling and ruminating with these questions. And so the first question is, what can I do today to support myself? What can you do today? And not just, basic self-care or I'm going to get a shower or I'm going to eat something healthy, whatever it might be. Like, what can you truly do to support yourself? Are you going to commit to a habit? Are you going to commit to doing something that is really going to support your body? Are you going to do that thing that you know that you've been wanting to do, that you haven't done, that you know is going to light you up and really, really serve you? Are you going to do that today? How are you going to support yourself? The second question is, how can you ground yourself in the present moment? How are you going to ground yourself in this current present moment? An exercise that I really love to do is go through your senses and really just take time to feel all of them and go through, what do I currently smell? What am I currently touching? What do I currently see? Really just kind of focus in that present moment, and it helps ground yourself. What's something that you like to do to ground yourself in the present moment? Maybe it's taking a very intentional walk in nature. Maybe it's, your own way of basking in nature or earth, or a really comfy, cozy spot in your house. And how are you just going to ground yourself in the present moment today? What does that look like for you? And then the last question is, how can you show up for the people who are in your life right now? How can you show up for those people, the people that are currently, presently in your life, not in the past, the people in the future that are yet to come, the people in your life right now? How can you show up for them? How can you show them that you are present with them, that you appreciate them, that you want to be there for them today? How can you show up for them? And so, really just spend some time, like I said, journaling about these questions. Maybe you're driving in the car and you're thinking about these things. It's really just causing you to get deep and get curious and wonder and see how we can be more present, how we can support ourselves, how we can show up for others, and how all of this is shaping that story that we're telling. Is this aligning with the story that you want your life to be? And so, going back to that 10-minute storytelling exercise, there's another thing that I realized, another big thing. And the story that I tell is the energy that I attract. The story that I'm putting out there, the message that I'm emulating, the way that I'm aligning my life is going to attract those people. Think about the algorithm and the keywords that you're using and the messages that you're projecting. Is what you're saying on a day-to-day basis, is what you're doing when you walk down the street, when you walk into a store, when you drive in your car. Is that all connecting full circle to this story that you want to be telling? And what kind of energy is that giving off and projecting? When I tend to focus on the pain and the struggle, I connect with people that are in that space. And that's okay, but it's not where I want to live. It's not where I want to serve. And the clients who light me up the most are the ones that feel super, super passionate about birth and about being empowered. And I feel super passionate about supporting them in that way. I feed off their energy. And so in return, they feed off of mine. If I'm super excited about their birth plan and their preferences and, what they're saying and how they're going about their pregnancy and just where things are heading, I get so lit up. I root for them so much harder. And not that I don't do that with all of my clients, but there's just an exchange of energy that happens when you really feel aligned with the story that they are telling. And so I need to focus on the story that I'm telling and embrace this journey ahead and really emulate the energy and the message that I want to see more of. And so now I'm more aware of this. And so I'm shifting my perspective. My story isn't just about loss. It's about resilience. It's about growth. It's about stepping into my power and supporting others to do the same. And for you, I want to ask, what story are you telling about yourself? And is it the story that you want to be telling? Because, like I said, our story is always shifting and flowing and changing. And we have the ability to slowly lean towards the direction that we desire, but we need to put some sort of intention and direction on a specific path to get there. So I really felt like episode 200 was a perfect time to reflect, to realign, and to step forward with more intention. I hope that you feel this energy and this shift and this perspective. And I'm so excited for you to be here on this ride. And I know this is a little bit of a unique episode. So I thank you and I appreciate you for being here and listening to this full episode and really allowing the space for you to grow and think and explore and get curious about the story that you're telling and the motherhood experience that you are having in whatever capacity that is right now, whether you're trying to conceive or pregnant or very newly postpartum. We all can reflect and self-reflect and explore and get curious about these words and messages and energy that we're saying and the story that it's shaping and creating. So if this episode resonated with you, I'd just honestly love to personally hear from you. You can take a screenshot of this episode. You can share it on Instagram, tag me, let me know, what story are you telling about yourself and how are you choosing to be more present today? Maybe sharing your story is a little bit of a highlight of what your 10-minute story would be or what came up for you in this episode, and let me know. And in celebration of this being 200 episodes, if you do that, if you share a little bit about your story and you tag me and you also share the podcast, I will be reaching out to you and I will be sending you a little something for doing so because I appreciate you. This is how I am showing up for you and the listeners of this podcast. And I am so thankful and appreciative and honored to have you here and to be collaborating on this wonderful, amazing experience we call motherhood. And I am just so blessed to have this opportunity, looking back on the very beginning to go from maybe I'm going to get a few episodes out to now we have officially hit episode 200. It is just really surreal. There has been 20,000 downloads, and that is really just remarkable. And I really just see so much growth and so much potential and so much impact with this podcast and bleeding into all of the other aspects of my life. And I am just so excited to continue to serve this community and hopefully share very impactful stories and messages and aspects of motherhood that can help you to own your experience, to pull from these stories and take what you will and utilize them to just fall deeper into your motherhood experience. So I appreciate you all so much. And so here's to 200 episodes and another 200 episodes to come. Wouldn't that be crazy if we'll, do something else for 300 episodes, 400 episodes, 500 episodes? We'll just keep on growing and going. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And see you later, mamas. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.